Welcome to our SASSCAL podcast. My name is Sharon Kavo and I am your host. Today we are continuing with our series on the impact of the Earth Observation Data Validation training workshop that was held in Lusaka, Zambia. And one of the participants of this training workshop is Mr Rodwell Chandipo from ZEMA, that's Zambia Environmental Management Agency, who has been part of this training workshop. Welcome, Mr Chandipo.
Thank you very much.
Okay, as before we get into more details, can you maybe just tell us a brief summary of what ZEMA is about and what you do there and why it was important for you to be part of this training workshop?
Yes, the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, it's a regulator. It's an institution that was set up by the law, the Environmental Management Act. So it was set up to do all such things as are necessary to ensure that there is sustainable management and utilization of natural resources, to make sure that there is control and management of pollution in the country. So within the Environmental Management Agency, I work in the natural resources management, and wetlands are part of the natural resources that we work in as an institution.
Okay, so what motivated you to be part of this training workshop?
The motivation came from the fact that wetlands are recognized in the law as part of ecologically sensitive areas, and ecologically sensitive areas, especially those that are in open places, have to be protected somehow. And the Environmental Management Act provides for the protection of such areas, and we are responsible as an agency. We are responsible for the management and protection of these resources. So now, before we protect these, we are required to do an assessment so that we could understand in what state they are, if they are degraded, if they are still okay, and the trends which are happening in these areas. So we have to know, and then as we get to know, we need data, because data comes in different forms, and mostly it's we do groundwork, but because of the vastness of these areas, we rely mostly on satellite data. And when we get this satellite data, of course, sometimes we find that there could be some misclassification of certain features that are in the wetlands. So, you need to go on the ground to go and do some validation to check if truly what you see on the satellite imagery is something that is truly happening on the ground.
Okay. So being part of this training workshop, what is your key interest? What can you say are the things that are very key or that were impactful during the training session?
The key interest has been the methods that I used for validation, because I didn't know personally that there could be different ways of validating the data on the ground. And then the other issue is the aspect of different platforms, because sometimes you can go on the ground and do the validation. At times you can just look at other imageries or other products that could give you that idea of how this validation is done. And then also there is this aspect that is of interest, where we are looking at different wetlands, because for ZEMA at the moment we have extensively studied one of the wetlands which is of international importance, that's the Lukanga Swamp, which is a Ramsar site. So now with that, with this information that we'll grasp from here, it will give us now that drive, and it will make it easier to study other wetlands.
Okay. Yes. Wow, very interesting. So considering that you are working with wetlands, with the wetlands in the country, what can you say, or how will the community benefit from this knowledge that you have acquired during this training workshop?
The community would benefit from this workshop, because when we go out, because when you're managing these natural resources, ZEMA mostly In fact, in all the cases that we make decisions, we involve the communities.
Yes.
So there's a lot of engagement between the community and the agency. So when we go in the communities to go and engage with them, this workshop will give us more knowledge on the particular wetlands that we are looking at, such that even as we are engaging them, we'll be able to engage with them more, and there will be a lot of acceptance because we'll be identifying with them. With that knowledge, we'll be able to know that, oh, this is what is happening, and then the community will be able to even confirm to say, yes, what we are talking about is actually what is happening in the wetlands.
Okay, that is quite interesting. So as we maybe round up, what can you say are what is your overview of the whole training program?
This whole training program has come at the right time with regards to our management of the wetlands, because there's a lot of interest now in the country to manage these wetlands sustainably, and there's some projects that are coming up. They are also looking at these wetlands everywhere, because they're looking at wetlands that are Ramsar sites, wetlands that are in protected areas, wetlands that are in open areas. They're looking at different kinds of wetlands, and then at the moment we don't have much information about these wetlands. So with this training, we'll be able to generate a lot of information which will feed into people that are planning to manage wetlands.
Wow, that is quite interesting. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us here in our podcast. Maybe as I conclude, you have a cue to...
Yes, I'd like to appreciate the organizers of this workshop, the SASSCAL. It's really been helpful, and for considering us, because we wouldn't have known. But SASSCAL came up and said we're organizing this, and it really came at the right time, and I would request that they should facilitate for more interaction, especially between the participants, because there are different institutions working on different aspects of wetlands. So if they could facilitate that interaction, that will really help the country.
Wow. Thank you so much for taking your time to be part of our podcast, and to all of our listeners, thank you so much for listening to this podcast session. If you have any follow-up questions, if you have any comments, feel free to comment on our comment sections on our social media platforms. Bye for now.